Hey Launch Techers, it's Tracy from Launch Tech Made Easy. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about the different online services that I use every single day and that I have found are really helpful in building an online business. Now, not every online business needs every one of these services, but these, and certainly I use a lot more than what I'll be talking about today, but these are good places to start. So if you're a smaller business, if you are maybe doing a little bootstrapping and you can't hire a graphic designer, if you're just kind of getting started out, there's some great ideas for you. Now, after I'm done with the live today, I will put a list of these up underneath the video. However, today got a little busier than I had planned, and so the list isn't quite ready yet. So I'm going to ask you to be a little patient with me, and you'll find it at facebook.com/launchtechadeeasy. But it might take me a half hour or so to get it up onto my Facebook page. So if you're starting out with a brand new business, one of the things that I recommend you do right away is to set up password software. Now, you're going to be buying a lot of different programs and a lot of different services that you'll need access to, and much safer and more convenient than carrying around a little password book is to immediately start with password software. And there's a couple different companies out there. I use LastPass. There's 1Password. There's KeepPass. They're called password managers, and you can just Google those and you'll find all kinds of options. But what's really nice about doing this is you'll set up one super duper password that's really hard for people to figure out. You can put in asterisks and whatever you want to make this 1Password tough. And then once you know that 1Password and you remember that 1Password, and you log in with that, all of your other passwords are listed, and it's encrypted. You can make those passwords really difficult if you want to, or they'll auto-generate the password managers themselves will auto-generate difficult passwords for you, and it keeps everything just in one spot. Now here's the really cool thing. As you start building your team, you can choose to share certain passwords with people on your team, and you can let them see the password or just give them access to the particular site that you want them to have access to. So it's a really slick way to kind of streamline that whole process. Please don't ever send passwords back and forth through email. It's just so not secure. So I love this because this is a more secure way to be able to share passwords. The next thing I recommend, especially if you are starting to sell products online and you might only have one or two products that you're selling, is to not get all involved with a big shopping cart. Now, you know that for most of you, I don't even recommend starting with a website. And in fact, my website at launchtechmadeeasy.com is basically just a landing page. And I do that because I want to show you that you can indeed build a list and start a business without spending thousands and thousands of dollars to develop a website. So, along with that, you don't need a huge, big, fancy shopping cart. If you only have one or two products, you can absolutely use PayPal for what you need. And there are a lot of tutorials on PayPal for how to do that, and you basically can just put a button on your site next to the product name. And you might want to get a little fancy. You might want to find somebody on Fiverr or Upwork that can help you design that. But you certainly don't. Shopping carts, in a lot of cases, can be pretty difficult and complicated to set up. And it's not just getting a shopping cart. You have to get a merchant account, and you have to have a gateway, and there's a lot of different pieces to a shopping cart. So at the very beginning, when you're just testing out ideas or you're really simple and you have just one little product, save yourself the hassle and just go with PayPal. Okay? And that kind of goes along. I'll skip ahead to Fiverr. Fiverr is one of my very favorite resources, along with Upwork, although I will say that I'm not as pleased with Upwork as I have been in the past. They bought a few other companies like Elance, and there was another one, Odesk, and now it's all called Upwork. And they're a little bit less reliable than they used to be. But I do like Fiverr. You do have to be really careful on any of these services that you choose to use, and do your research. Like, don't just pick the first person you see. Check their ratings. See how long they've been working. Make sure that they haven't just had 3 clients. Maybe check and see if they've had repeat clients. How is their English? ask to see samples of their work. But if you do all of those things, it can be a really, really great way to get some short projects taken care of. And a lot of times I've made long-term relationships with these people. So if I need a PDF done, I have my PDF person that I go to, and I know that they're going to get the PDF done, and they're going to be trustworthy, and it's going to be the way that I like it. So, but the first couple times you're going to really want to work hard to make sure that you are looking into their background and checking them out thoroughly. The good news is that the services that you're using, like Fiverr or Upwork or whatever, offer you some sort of protection too. If you're not happy with the way things are going, you feel like maybe you've been cheated a little bit, you have some recourse there. And, you know, occasionally I've had contractors go missing, and Upwork has actually kind of locked up their account, so they can't do anything until they get back to me and they finish my project or I get my money back or whatever. So that's why I prefer using those services rather than using, you know, somebody from the newspaper or Craigslist or whatever, because you really don't have any recourse in those situations. Okay, so we talked about password managers, we've talked about PayPal, and I told you about Fiverr and Upwork. Oh, and the next one that I really like is Evernote. Now, a lot of people think of Evernote as just a place for note-taking, and it can be that, but I've started using it for just about all of my writing and organizing my different subjects, my blog posts. It becomes a really great place to kind of put things. It's sort of like a file cabinet or a notebook. You can put a lot of different things in there, and you can organize it really well. You can cut and paste from it. You can put links into it. And then there's some really awesome extra features you can use too, so that if you're searching the web and you find a really amazing blog post article and you want to maybe look back at it later, or you want to comment on it, you can actually put a clipper on I use Chrome. You can use a clipper on Chrome, and you just push a little button on your browser and it will clip the whole article and put it in your Evernote folder for you. And I love that. The other really cool thing is it works very well when I'm not hooked up to the internet. There's a lot that I can do with Evernote without having internet access. And there are whole books on how to use Evernote thoroughly, and it's taken me several years to really get in there deep and to figure out all of the different ways that I can use it, but I use it every day now, and I do most of my writing and all of my note-taking in there. So that's really awesome. Sometimes I'll be creative and I still need a note paper and pencil or black pen. That's my thing, a black pen. But then I can always later put it into Evernote. Actually, there's a way that you can actually scan it and get it in Evernote. I'm not quite that sophisticated yet. I also use Dropbox, particularly with all of my client files. Dropbox is great if you're sharing files between different people, because you can give each other the access to the files. It might be an image that you're using for a blog post and you want to give access to your web designer or your VA so that you have they have access to the same files that you do. It is similar to Google Drive in some ways. I prefer Dropbox because Google Drive you actually have to be online to use effectively. And while Google Drive is live and you can make the changes live, what I prefer about Dropbox is it's all in one neat spot, and I can drag files around, and it just has a little more flexibility for the way that I use it. But you can check out both for file sharing and see which one you prefer. Both of them are pretty cool. Backing up your computer. Now, we all live in that fear of, something terrible happening to our computer. And so I used to back everything up to just a series of hard drives. And I had more than one. Like I would back up to one, and then I would back that one up to another one. And the reality is those external hard drives aren't particularly stable. And, if your house burns down or you get hit by a tornado or something like that, your backup drive isn't going to really do you any good unless you're consistently putting it in a safe or fireproof area. So I have moved to online backup, which I use Carbonite, but there are other services out there. All of my files are backed up every single day, and they go to an offsite storage, and they have double backup on their end as well. That way, if something terrible were to happen to my computer, or if I'm away from home and, something happened to my home while I was gone or whatever, I have access to all of my files. It backs up my entire computer. And so it gives me a lot of peace of mind. And it's really interesting because I completely forget that it's even there. If you have an older computer, it may slow down your computer. And certainly the first time you back it up, it's going to take a while. But at this point, it backs up overnight for me. And I never even know that it's doing it. But it's cool because if I need to restore a file, I can do that pretty easily. And recently I was traveling, and it will only back up if you're plugged in, if you have a good Wi-Fi signal and your computer is actually plugged in based on the settings I have set up. And I was traveling a few weeks ago, and I wasn't using my computer much, so I wasn't bothering to plug it in at night or to have it hooked up in the hotel room. And so I got a message, it's been 24 hours since you backed up your computer. It's been 48 hours since you backed up your computer. I wasn't particularly worried because nothing new had gone on my computer in that period of time. But it did remind me, oh yeah, it does do that in the background. But I had forgotten all about it. I mean, I pay for it monthly, obviously, so but it's not something that I have to live or work around. It just does it very elegantly in the background. For graphic design, if you are trying to come up with cool graphics for your blog posts, or maybe even for Facebook ads, one of the easiest programs I have found to use, because I'm completely graphically challenged. That is not my sweet spot. So the thing that I use is called Canva, C-A-N-V-A. And it's very easy to use. There are a lot of templates that you can riff off of. You can even set it up if you use one of their paid accounts so that you can load all of your template colors in there for your website or for your branding. And it makes it much easier then because you can just click on your colors to get your colors into the templates. It gives a lot of ideas for different ways to create an ad or an invitation or a blog post, and it has all the sizing pre-done for you. So that's a really, really fast and easy way to get graphics done. Okay, so those are the programs that I really recommend. Oh, the last one would be Trello. I'm a big to-do list person, and so Trello makes that really, really easy, and that you can make all these little cards. It's sort of like Post-it notes that you can put and you can organize in Trello, and you can I use it as a backlog, so I have all of the things that I want to do in a backlog list. And then I have all the things that I'm going to do this week, all the things that I've done, and you can drag them back and forth. And then I might have, things I'm waiting to get more information on. So I have all these boards set up that I can move my cards around to, and it's very similar to moving Post-it notes around. So I really recommend that one too, just if you like to keep organized and you like that feeling of Post-it notes. But the really cool thing about this is if you're traveling, I used to, before I'd go on a trip, I'd take a picture of all the Post-it notes I had on my wall so that I knew what my to-do list was. And Trello kind of took care of that for me. So a little bit more organized than Post-it notes, a little more 21st century. And then I wanted to talk just quickly about some of the programs that I have paid for and really, really found value in. And I mean the big marketing programs. So there's a lot of them out there, and many of them are quite expensive. $2,000 kind of seems to be the magic number for marketing programs. And I've taken some that I've loved, and I've taken some that I haven't loved quite so much. But the one that I am, yes, Lisa. Lisa's asking about the spelling of Trello. Yes, it is Trello, is how you spell Trello. And after we're done today, I will put a list of all of that up underneath. I'll make a little sheet for you. It's going to take me a few minutes after I get off live, but I will put that together for you underneath this video. So some of the programs that I really like, if you are just starting out in business and you are overwhelmed by how the whole process works and where do you start and how do you decide who your customer is and what should you have on your website and how are you going to develop your first product and the really deep nitty-gritty of getting started, and you want a really in-depth, like the Mac Daddy of courses, I really recommend Marie Forleo's B School. I took it a few years ago. You get access to it year after year after year. And it takes you from concept to, through all the various steps, marketing, doing, really doing a deep dive to find out who your customers are, and that's a really great program if you're just starting out. If you've been around the block a few times and you have your website, you know who your customer is, you've done all that work, but you're ready to launch something, you're ready to get a product out there and you really want to promote it, but you really aren't quite sure how to do it, I recommend Jeff Walker's Product Launch Formula. Jeff also has a book called Launch that is sort of a summary of his bigger program. And that's also a really, really valuable tool. It walks you through, getting your idea solid and writing the emails and doing all those types of things. And it's a broader marketing program. If you're looking for very specific trainings on things like developing a webinar or coming up with a course and promoting a course, and not the course itself, it is not a membership course itself, but how to promote and create a course. For those types of topics, I really recommend Amy Porterfield, and she has a couple of them. She has webinars that convert, courses that convert. She's had some Facebook trainings, so she also has some really, really great some trainings that you might be interested in. And so those are my favorites for the different big online marketing courses. And like I said, they're not inexpensive. Most of them $1,000, $2,000 seem to be the common price points for those. So those are the different systems and services and things that I use every single day and that I really recommend to anyone who's either starting out a business from scratch or who has been around for a while and is just looking for an easier way to kind of systematize what they're doing. Again, it was the password manager. I talked about Evernote and Trello and Dropbox, backing up electronically and offsite. We talked about Canva, Fiverr, and Trello. So I will put a list of all those together for you. Give me 15, 20 minutes to get that together. Like I said, it was a little bit of a crazy day today, and I'll put it right underneath this video when I'm done. And make sure that you come back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. I am not remembering off the top of my head what my topic is for tomorrow, but I will be here and I'll be answering any questions you have. So be sure to put your questions in the comment section, or you'll hopefully get to see an invite for tomorrow's webinar, and you can or tomorrow's live. You can absolutely ask questions in the comments of those areas too, and I'll be happy to answer them on the call. Thanks. Bye-bye.